He stole my inheritance. Now he wants me back. For 10 years, there was just silence. 10 years since he took everything and left me with nothing but the smoldering ruins of our family. And then, just like that, he was there, my brother, standing on my doorstep, looking like the world had chewed him up and spit him out. He said he needed my help. In that one moment, I had to decide, am I still the person he broke, or am I the person I became after he was gone? This was never just about money. This was about whether you can ever truly walk away from family, even when they've given you every reason in the world to. When our mom passed away, the grief was just crushing. It was just my brother and me against the world. We were supposed to lean on each other, or at least that's what I thought. The will was simple, split everything, 50-50. But weeks became months, and every time I brought up the estate, he'd have a new excuse. The paperwork was a nightmare. The lawyers were dragging their feet, and I trusted him. I mean, why wouldn't I? He was my brother. The day I figured it all out is a day I'll never forget. It felt like the floor just dropped out from under me. It started with a weird letter from the bank, which led to a panicked call to the estate lawyer, and the whole sickening picture came into focus. He'd liquidated everything. Every stock, every bond, every single dollar our parents had worked their whole lives for. It was all gone, wired to some offshore account with only his name on it. Being betrayed by your own family leaves a scar so much deeper than any stranger could. He didn't just steal my money, he stole my trust, my sense of security, and my entire history. He vanished. Just like that, leaving me with a mountain of legal bills and the empty shell of our family's legacy. I had to sell our childhood home, the place where every good memory lived, just to keep from going under. For a long time I was just lost. Some days, I could barely get out of bed. The weight of what he did felt physical, like a constant pressure on my chest. But then one morning, something just clicked. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the victim staring back at me. And I learned that anger can be one heck of a motivator. I took a second job and then a third. I crammed my life into a tiny apartment and poured every last bit of my energy into rebuilding. I started a small online business from my kitchen table, driven by this desperate need to prove, not to him but to myself, that I was more than the mess he'd left behind. Slowly, piece by painful piece, I clawed my way back. I built a new life, a new home, and a new future right out of the ashes he left me in. And then, 10 years later, almost to the day, he was back. The successful, world-traveling brother I'd imagined was gone. The man on my porch was thin, exhausted, and his eyes had a kind of desperation I'd never seen before. He spun this story about bad investments and getting scammed himself. Long story short, he was broke. He had nowhere else to turn. He asked if he could stay with me, just for a little while, to get back on his feet. Do you know the one thing he never said? I'm sorry. There was no acknowledgement of the hell he put me through, no sign of regret for the theft that almost destroyed me. He just stood there, expecting me to fix his life, assuming that our family bond was a blank check he could cash anytime he was in trouble. That complete lack of accountability wasn't just a red flag, it was a giant flashing neon sign showing me he hadn't changed at all. Standing there in the doorway of the life I fought so hard to build for myself, I felt this weird sense of calm. All the rage I had carried for a decade just melted away. I wasn't looking at a monster anymore. I was just looking at a man whose own bad choices led him right to my door. A part of me, and probably society, would scream that family is family, that you have to help. But I thought about the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. Forgiveness is something you do for yourself, to let go of the poison so it doesn't rule your life. I realized I could do that. But reconciliation? That's a two-way street. It requires trust and accountability, and he wasn't bringing either to the table. I finally understood that setting a boundary isn't about punishing someone, it's about protecting yourself. It's about keeping the peace you worked so hard to find. I took a deep breath. No, I said. The word was quiet, but it felt like the strongest thing I'd ever said. I can't help you. I told him that my peace was something I had earned, and I wasn't willing to set it on fire for him. I told him I forgave him, but that was for me, not for him. I was letting go of the hate, but I was not letting him back into my life. My healing doesn't have to look the way anyone else thinks it should. So I have to ask you, what would you have done? Would you have let him in?